Good morning, afternoon or evening. Today I'll be looking over the Poland update and all that it includes, all the balance changes and different things that it's added. So I'll just be looking through the Steam update news here and explaining some of the things and how they're going to affect the gameplay. So let's get straight into the general, which is a new country, Poland, has been added. I've already made a video on Poland and there'll be many more made. Signaling system for players, so if you hold control you can left click and right click to give different map control signals, such as left click and right click, saying things like come here, attack here. If you press on a building or a unit, it will tell you everyone in the match what that unit is. Very useful system. Camera inertia. It basically, exactly what it says here, it accelerates and stops not instantly, so when you move your camera with WASD or your mouse, the camera will move a little bit before stopping, and it's a bit more spongy. You can switch that off by moving the camera inertia scroller all the way to the left. For the graphics section, they've improved the graphics. Some people are saying that it gives them migraines, but I personally love it. A brilliant change, I think. And you can change the gamma to go through loads of different settings. Rendering algorithms, FPS increase when camera is not moving. That is very true. When the camera is not moving, I get around 100 to 120 FPS. But when it does move, the FPS does drop significantly, which I believe they're trying to fix. Animation switching for most units is now smooth. So, for example, things like Grenadiers, they have a new animation. I don't know any more off the top of my head, but Grenadiers are the one I've used recently, and their animation's much quicker and just smoother looking. For the balance changes, starting at the Stone Age, you've got Warriors, health reduced from 70 to 65. This will hopefully make it warrior rushing a little bit less effective, not by a lot, but 1 or 2 hits less to kill a warrior. Bulwark, building speed increased by 25%. So it's a 25% nerf to the Bulwark, because it of course is built 25% faster. Sorry, slower. I had to think about that one then. Early Europe, so that's the Bronze Age. Workers' wood gathering speed increased from 1.2 to 1.3, and stone mining 1.0 to 1.1, so you'll need less workers on wood, or the same but with a better eco for Bronze Age. I'm assuming that's also Iron Age. The farm construction speed reduced by 30%. This will help Europe players get their farm up working a little bit faster, not a big change. The battle boat movement speed increased from 40 to 45. This is a nice change. It makes the battle boat slightly more usable, I guess, for landing with those 3 workers to set up another base on an island, especially in the new island maps for 1v1s and 2v2s and so on. Early Asia, the poultry yard again has been reduced by 40% for this construction speed. So it's even quicker again, but this time it's even faster than the Europe one, which is only 30%, making sense as it's Asia. Sampan movement speed increased from 40 to 45, same thing as the battle boat there. Western Europe, mill construction speed decreased by 30%, same as in early. Trebuchet, the price has been reduced from 0 food, 1000 wood, 300 iron to 0 food, 800 wood and 250 iron. So it's quite a significant buff to the trebuchet there. I think it's a very well deserved one, as the trebuchet was always too expensive for what it's good at. A few more changes for it, maybe some more accuracy or fire rate, maybe something like that. The Onager, maximum range reduced from 200 to 190, price increased from 300 to 100 350. So it now costs 100 food and 50 more wood, a nice change, and it can fire a bit less range, which is a really nice change because the Onager is very powerful, but at the moment I think it's slowly getting back down towards the right way. Eastern Europe, of course, no changes there, the one I main. Mill construction speed reduced by 25%, same as everything else. West Asia, barnyard speed construction speed reduced, same. Mamluk armor on average increased from 5.2 to 7.5. This is very big because Mamluks at this moment are relatively useless. I would say, with the 80 iron you spend to upgrade it, you only get a 5.2 armor, which is not a lot. So now Mamluks, which will probably be a much more prominent thing in games, probably people going from Sipaks to Mamluks, but because of the iron cost for Sipaks, it's going to be a bit less common. I think it's an okay change. We'll have to see how that works out. East Asia, quite a lot of changes for East Asia. The poultry yard construction speed again decreased by 40%. Hand cannon attack distance changed from 20 to 250 to 40 to 230. So the hand cannon got a slight nerf, as before it could basically shoot at its own feet, which is nice, I guess. It's not big of a change. The springald price reduced from 0,400 to 0,450, making it a bit cheaper. The minimal attack distance reduced from 50 to 40, construction speed increased by 50%. So the springald got a nice buff. It's a bit cheaper, a bit faster to build, and it can shoot a bit closer to itself, so it can defend itself for a little bit longer. And the rocket cannon projectile damage radius increased by 36%, building speed increased by 50%. So yeah, you've got 36% increase in the projectile explosions, so when it hits the floor it will be 36% larger blast area, quite nice. And the building speed increased, nice again, because it does take quite a while. Battleship, I think that's referring to the warship, not 100% sure, one of the East Europe, maybe the turtle ship. The number of required population is increased from 4 to 5. It's quite a big difference, but it depends on which one they're referring to, because I think that's a typo. As the warship is carrying units back and forth, and it's very powerful already, so that'll be a justifiable buff, a nerf. But if it's a turtle ship, then it's a nerf, but I'm not exactly sure why. So let's go for the abstract country. Armoured car production time reduced from 100 to 70 seconds, damage increased from 18 to 20. I'm assuming this is to match the new Polish TK tank KS, the TKS, because it got buffed to match the TKS, of course, so that it's not left behind. Howitzer time production decreased to 80 seconds from 100. That's to match the TKS as well, which is also produced at 80 seconds and then upgraded. So the howitzer is a bit of a change to that. Motorcycle attack distance decreased from 150 to 130. Damage on buildings decreased from 8 to 6. Projectile dispersion increased from 18 to 20%. Movement speed decreased from 120 to 110. So the motorcycle got quite a big nerf here. Less range, which will make it a bit easier to get close and counter it. Damage on buildings reduced by 2, so buildings are basically immune to it now, hopefully. Projectile dispersion, that's not too big of a difference because there's so many bullets you can hit everywhere anyway. Movement speed decreased, that's nice because they're so fast they just get away from any engagement. Wonder health increased from 3,000 to 5,000, that's just to match the usual IR Town Hall, as I think that might have been an issue. Torpedo Boat movement and speed from 60 to 70, a nice change for the Torpedo Boat. It's not really seen often, but now we'll be able to match the speed of planes a bit easier so we can shoot them down. Russia, the soldier improvement from musketeer to grenadier now requires a barrack. So before you could upgrade musketeers and grenadiers to soldiers without a barracks, but now you do. Turkey, the mortar damage increased from 130 to 160, projectile dispersion reduced from 20 to 18%, so quite a lot more damage, and it's a bit more accurate. Maybe this will change some stuff for the mortar, but I think it's still going to be overshadowed by the light cannon. For China, the Type FT, the FT-17 tank for the Chinese, time between shots reduced from 6 to 5 seconds, so I think that's to match the FT-17 for France. So it's basically the same now. Germany got some nice buffs here, which are very much needed. The Panther tank damage increased from 100 to 130, health increased from 1000 to 1100, projectile dispersion reduced from 20 to 15. So it's a lot more accurate. It's actually a quarter more accurate. It's got 30 more damage to make it a lot more useful against buildings and tanks and other units it's going to be going up against as an IR2 unit. Health increased by 100, that will help it just survive that little bit longer. ME262, price reduced from 400, 800, 1200 to 400, 700, 1000. That's a brilliant buff, as it's way too expensive currently. Production time reduced from 150 to 120 seconds, that's nice. So instead of being 2.5 minutes to 2 minutes, that's going to make it a bit easier to make. Goliath operator price reduced from 15,500, 500, 1000 to 1200, 500, 800. Production time reduced from 180 seconds to 120. This is alright. The operator isn't really the issue, I don't think. I think it's the actual Goliath it makes that's the issue, because it costs quite a lot and it's relatively hard to actually use. Production time doesn't really affect it. Again, it's about a minute less, but you're not really going to be spamming these out anyway. Flammenwerfer, time between attacks reduced from 5 to 3 seconds, movement speed increased from 45 to 50, so a bit more useful there. Quite a good change for the unarmoured flamethrower there. The armoured Flammenwerfer, time actually the same there, so it moves a bit faster and it shoots even more often, so the armoured flamethrower is going to be a lot more difficult to deal with, because it's going to be running towards you instead of trotting. Cannon Colossal, time between attacks reduced from 8 to 5 seconds. It's another big buff for the Cannon Colossal. I would say it's getting to the point where it's almost usable. Actually, it's probably usable now for quite a large investment. So we'll have to see how well this works out. In Japan, another country that would require some buffs, as it's quite expensive, not to the point of Germany, but it's quite expensive and it lacks ground units. Light mortar, time between attacks reduced from 8 to 7 seconds, that's a nice buff, because the light trench mortar is okay, but it's not amazing. Fugo, price reduction from 400 to 100 to 350 to 100, so it's a nice 50 less food, as Japan doesn't get tractors. That's alright. The G4m Bomber Health increased from 350 to 400. It's quite a low health unit, so I'll help it survive some AA guns. Range increased from 100 to 120 seconds, it's 20 seconds longer in the air, which is quite a big change. Torpedo damage from 420 to 500, so 70 more damage against the ships, basically, with their torpedo attack, which is quite nice. It will help it deal with things like battleships, dreadnoughts, and whatever. Secure Blossom MXY7 airfield price reduced from 100, 600, 100 to 100, 400, 100. So what this means is basically the Secure Blossom, the a kamikaze plane that comes out of the G4m Bomber and also the Sentoku. You can produce it in the airfield. Quite a lot of people don't bother because it's quite expensive. But yeah, you can produce it in the airfield, and its price has been reduced by 200 wood, which is quite nice. And that is all of the balance changes for this patch. Quite a huge patch, adding a lot of new stuff, and also the Halloween update. So I hope you find this interesting, and let me know if you want to see this again in the future. So thank you everyone for watching, enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye.